Hi, I'm Jerry Risius, Director of Photography, working now on a National Geographic series. Started in this business about 20 years ago. I got in, I was working in a camera rental house for a year. I learned 16 and 35 cameras early, and then started working as a camera assistant in the early 90s. Continued through the end of the 16 sort of documentary world, then bought some equipment and started to shoot. What I do as a cameraman, or as a documentary cameraman, is different than, say, a director of photography for a feature or a commercial might be, is that you're always waiting to find beauty in other people's lives as opposed to creating what you hope is beauty. The storyline, I think, is always going to trump any sort of finesse of beauty, but what you hope is beautiful is going to be what will encapsulate an entire person's story. I love documentaries. I think that they're intimate. You make real connections with people, and you learn about people's lives, then your life becomes much richer because of them. There's a lot of people who have very fascinating stories, people who are underrepresented, or people who are not necessarily underrepresented, but who have done something with their lives, or have had other things happen to their lives, whether it's tragedies or whether it's having made some small change for themselves or for groups of people, communities. It's exciting to be a part of when people are involved and engaged, and then you become engaged in their lives just by filming them all the time. In the world of the camera department, it's great because you really have to combine a lot of science and art, I guess. You want it to be artistic. I don't think art should triumph storylines and documentaries. You need to be technically capable enough of operating many different types of cameras, all the different kind of formats, being able to gauge lights, and thinking about best times of day to shoot stuff sometimes, or that sort of stuff. And then at the end of the day, you want to be able to tell somebody's story. It's not our story, it's not my story, it's usually somebody else's story. So my background was in anthropology, and that is kind of good to lead in for documentaries as observational, I guess, in a certain way, watching, but less of a participant. You have to be able to ask yourselves and answer some of the deepest questions that you would ever want to know about someone else before you can emotionally engage in someone. If someone wants to tell you their story and allow you to film their lives, then you have to also be ready to, it's almost like gang initiation, where you have to be willing to do what they're willing to do in any situation. Number one is, I guess, to be a good dancer. There's many very funny things about shooting, but you really have to be a good observer, anticipate what people are going to do, and that's just a human condition or a human connection to be able to think about what the progress of any life situation might be. Many times you're surprised, and you can't be surprised as an operator because you have to be there filming it and quite calm. So if something is happening, whether it is a tragedy, whether it is in a war zone or extremely complicated, you have to be able to calmly see what's happening and be able to tell the story visually. One thing about operating as well is, with large format cameras like this, you naturally have 3 points of contact, your X, Y, and Z axis, which I think then allow you to be able to follow things fluidly. If you have a smaller camera, I a lot of times will use my cheek, right, or some way to be able to do your moves that will not make the audience see any sort of jarring whiplash shots, which are going to then take you out of the story, I think. So smooth moves or moving masters, I think, are usually what I try to concentrate on. And then, a lot of times looking for small little bits of real life that may not be actually part of the story that will tell you about the people that you're filming. Whether it's, a small tchotchke that somebody might have up in their hallway, whether it's, some sort of, hand gestures, perhaps they're, nervous or edgy, or something that's going to move the story along, but will in fact tell you who these people are without having them tell you. It's cool, man. You guys are definitely sitting at the cool kids table at lunchtime, man. I know. I'm a loser, man. I was the guy in the AV department, man. You wouldn't let me sit at your table. Timecode NOLA, you heard me?